Greetings. You ever want to learn from someone who has almost a print money on demand legally? Yes, legally. Serial entrepreneurs, not one time. And right now, what they do is in any business, you need one thing: fresh leads coming to you. That's the only way you can grow. Yeah, you can sell it to your existing customers and make more sales. How much you can sell to your existing customers? Lead generation is the blood supply for your business, and you want to learn from the master. And in fact, I brought him for my own selfish reason, by the way. So in case you don't know me, my name is Mohammed Siddique. I am the host of a growth hacking show and the co-author of a new success secrets, which you can get it from Amazon. And please join me to give a warm welcome to my guest. He is the founder, CEO, general manager of Lead Generation, Colby Lead Generation. And he has been doing this for a long time, almost 12 years, 14 years. And he has cracked the code how to generate leads on Facebook, Google, you name everywhere, all digital lead generations. On one side, what he's doing is selling the lead for, let's say, for $10. On the other side, he is only paying $2, $3, $4, $5. Doesn't matter, even $9. Who cares? If if you are in a business of lead generation, especially B2C, business to consumer, what are the examples? Like insurance, you want to buy insurance, credit cards, finance, mortgages, all that, because the people will be buying insurance on an ongoing basis. And he is in the right on the top of the front, he's taking his pie. That's virtually printing money and demand legally. Okay, because I had to explain you, because somebody might be thinking that he's doing something which is not the desired one. Without any further delay, please join me to welcome Kurt Snyder. Kurt, welcome.
Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here, Mohammed.
Hopefully, I have introduced you properly so that create the desire for some. Everybody want to print money and demand legally. Okay, legally. Okay, so
yeah, I think only my mother would have introduced me better than that.
Kurt, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you are surrounded with that inspired you to get into this lead generation?
Yeah, well, it goes back maybe even a little bit further. It's what spurred me to want to even be an entrepreneur. Just always been somebody who wanted to take action, didn't want to settle for situations and environments that I couldn't change myself. And so I always had the itch in me. About 18 years ago, I worked for a privately held firm that was a good sized firm. It was over 100 million in sales. And I came on and we had about 3 years to grow it as much as we possibly could. And we did, and we were able to have a nice liquidity event and sell it to private equity. And so I really, really got the bug of creating value, seeing what that can actually do to you personally, professionally, and monetarily. So that was a kind of a big part of it. But then also kind of on another path, I have always, since college and since business school, gravitated towards psychology and sociology and the true behavior of consumers. What makes them buy stuff? What makes them not buy stuff? I've always gravitated towards the marketing aspect of business, and so that's kind of how I landed where I am today. So even today, I get incredibly excited. My people laugh at me, my customers laugh at me, but they love it that I get so down into the muck of maybe an A/B split test of this image versus that image generated twice the leads, that sort of thing. So that's a big part of it as well. And it really comes down to the fact also that in my corporate career way back, I did work in insurance and financial services. So I always had that kind of coursing through my blood. So when you put all three pieces together, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, had some experience in financial services, this almost obsession with consumer behavior and what makes them buy things and so forth. Or in our case, just fill out forms to become a lead. It all kind of came together about 14 years ago, and I launched and I never looked back.
Wonderful. That's an amazing story. Kurt, has a big challenge for you is coming in your business. You probably already know that. You might be thinking what that is. That's artificial intelligence, because creating the campaigns on the fly based on the person who is visiting, what color, red, blue, whatever that is. And, if I've been to eye doctor for 3 hours. That means I probably have, glasses now, and then you need to put the 18 font instead of 12 font or whatever. There's so much personalization. It's like on each unique ad for one impression. That's what that is going to be very soon. How you're actually keeping up yourself to actually match that level, that means you can generate a lot more print and demand.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for that. And it is a great time to be a marketer because I go back a way, not as far as you, Mohammed, but I remember when you were relegated to whatever was available for direct mail lists. And yeah, it was a lot of data points, but a lot of it wasn't behavioral, and it certainly was not real time. When we launch our programmatic advertising campaigns, where you are essentially bidding in a nanosecond to put our ad in front of Mohammed Siddique because he just bought glasses and we know he's then going to buy, ancillary type services. You could not have done that hardly 5 years ago, certainly not 10, 15, 20. It is a marketer's dream. It is the best time of all times. It is not easy. It still requires the right offer, the right person at the right time. So where the marketing, the softer side of things come in, the intelligence, the strategy is in what offer are you going to put before that individual? Because we know, because of recency, frequency, and monetary value, that person is prone to buying a similar sort of product. It is just, I sometimes go home, I talk to my kids, I say, we live in a great age for marketing because I had none of this even 10 years ago. So I'm very grateful for that. And to keep us on the cutting edge, because a lot of my competitors haven't fully embraced AI, machine learning, whatever you want to actually call it. They are actually different. Nor have some of these big carriers. They're so large, they move so slowly that they can't work it through all their legacy systems because it does take a lot of technology, a lot of integration. So what they do is let's outsource to this specialist group, nimble boutique outfit like a Colby Direct, who doesn't have the barriers of silos and integration legacy systems, and they can just do it for us. That's really been the key to our success, Mohammed.
Wonderful, wonderful. Especially in your business, you don't need too many clients. You need good clients who need you forever almost.
That's correct. Our clients tend to be very high enterprise level. We got a lot of big publicly traded companies. We have some big mutual insurance companies. But sometimes we joke around here that, we really probably only ever need one client, because as long as they want to continue to grow, and we have the capital, they have the capital, why would you ever need more than one? What happens in reality, though, is any smart business, spreads its bets out, diversifies its risk. So they'll use 4 or 5 or 6 of us, and they'll cap each one, so nobody gets perhaps too big for their britches. But the reality is, a lot of our growth can come from just really developing those relationships, doing an even better job, maybe starting to do some branded or customized work for them, for big major carriers. And there's plenty of value creation to go around with only a small handful of clients. That's a great point.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Kurt, based on your experience of like almost a few decades now, I can tell, what are the top 3 missteps to avoid to grow your business? Because you have not grown your own company, you have seen your clients grow like a big time.
Thanks. Well, everybody's got the entrepreneurial story. I started in my basement or I started in my garage. Yeah. Well, in reality, I started in my basement. 3 little kids, had a big fat corporate salary. I said, you know what? I'm going to do this anyways. I sat there and I looked at, cement walls. It was dark. I had a little phone, I had me, and I had a computer. The key was, and if I had it to do maybe over again, I would have let go of some control much earlier. I think most of us entrepreneurs have that issue of nobody can do this as well as I can do it. If it's selling, if it's the finance, it's the marketing, it's the relationships, it's the operations, I've got to do it. I did learn, because I wouldn't be as big as I am today if I didn't, to eventually let go and sub it out, or to bring on the employees and staff and so forth, to really let that go. And I think what that forced me to have to do, which is, thank God, another skill of mine, is I have the capacity to teach. You have to teach and teach and teach and teach. Sell and teach. So that was, I would say maybe misstep number one, where I could have done that sooner, might have leveraged my time faster. Number two is you get out of the gates, you have some capital, you want to be a real company. And by that, I mean, oh, we've got a sign and we got business cards and we got a fancy building and we have great parking and we have all this. None of that. At the end of the quarter, end of the month, your bank, whomever, whatever it is going to add to the bottom line. It might add to your ego. It might add to your employees' egos. But overhead is we try to kill it everywhere we absolutely can find it. That said, you have to create a good, positive, physical, work environment for your employees. Yeah, we all get that. But do you really have to be on the most expensive piece of real estate in your city? Probably not. Because in the end, that overhead, it just absorbs all that profit margin. So I may have started bigger than what I needed to, because you're always kind of pie in the sky. Oh, we'll cover that, no problem. And yes, we did. And then a recession hit, and you're kind of wishing you didn't have the overhead. So my advice to anybody starting out or even in business forever is like, just overhead is your enemy. You got to go and get rid of it. And then lastly, and certainly not least, probably in reverse order of priority. In the early days, Mohammed, you're so busy, so frenzied, so fast, so chaotic. You're always trying to put the pieces together, and vendors and partners, and strategic relationships, strategic alliances, employees, banking relationships, whatever it might be. And you kind of go with your gut and you go on the fly and you have a 20-minute meeting like, I'm hiring this guy. 20-minute phone call, they're great. Only to find out that the honeymoon lasts about, 1 month. And then they show their true colors. You can't find them. They hide behind their email. They reply a day earlier. They're out sick all the time. What I have learned, and is a valuable lesson, and I probably learned it a little later than I would have, but nonetheless I learned, is to just get 100% focus, sit down, clear the decks, have a great engagement, meet one-on-one. God forbid anybody meets in person and shakes hands anymore, and forge that relationship and really get in their head, allow them to get into yours, to make sure that's a good fit. Because as you know, and all your audience knows, there is a tremendous cost to having to switch out and transition once you embed with a partner. So I would have liked to have thought that I would have learned that lesson a bit earlier. But like any other entrepreneur, you learn lessons at certain junctures. You just don't make the same mistake twice. So those are my three. I wouldn't call them regrets, but just missteps. Wish I'd learned sooner.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. Valuable. Great. That's the wisdom you shared with us, experience. So we don't have to do those mistakes. We have gone through that one. That's the purpose of. Now I'm more excited on this one. Kurt, now we have covered the missteps. Now let's move on to the good side of it. So what are the top 3 success secrets for your business growth and for your clients' growth? Top 3. I know you probably have so many. We just want the top 3.
Yeah, and it's hard to know, because it's not as though, a crew came in here from Harvard and said, we're going to do a Harvard business case review about you, and here are the 3 things that have made you great. I don't have that from a third-party objective resource, but I just, like any other entrepreneur, Mohammed, you go with your gut, and you kind of know what has made you productive, successful, whichever word you'd like to maybe use. But going back to your very first question of what were the surroundings, what was the situation, what were the triggers that made me go in to become an entrepreneur? And this company at which I worked, this gentleman for whom I have the highest regard, one of the greatest, most wonderful gentlemen ever, he built not only one, but about 3 companies worth over $100 million. And I watched him as closely as I could from the distance I could. And he was 100% about the psychology of everything. He made everybody in that company feel like an owner. So if you were buying a paperclip, you thought, you know what, I get that paperclip for 10% less than what I'm paying, because ultimately he then structured everything financially so that you behaved as an owner. So I never forgot that. I mean, any entrepreneur, they've had great mentors. You take the best of what you learned, you set aside the worst of what you learned, and you make it your own. So for me, it's to make every single one of my people feel like that's my company. I own it. Not because they have nice family or company picnics or great holiday gifts and whatever, but because the way I behave is going to dictate how much money I will glean from this. So that is absolutely, I think, been key to our success. Number two is, I know this sounds cliche, but I will challenge anybody to put me to the test of whether or not I, walk the walk. Treat your employees like they're your customers, because without them, you've got nothing. Treat your customers like God. Of course, I go so far as to treat my vendors like customers. There's no distinction for me. Everybody has their motivation. It probably goes back to the psychology, the sociology. It's like, what makes them tick? What are their key drivers? What's going to make them succeed? And I'm really a believer in a win-win, not a zero-sum kind of game negotiation. So when clients, think and say, wow, that guy truly treats me like an equal. I don't feel like his vendor. I don't feel like, I'm just his subcontractor. He's really concerned about my profitability as well. You got to do that within reason, or you can have people eat your lunch. So, but I truly believe that. I know years ago, CEOs would all pontificate, turn the organization upside down, and I work for everybody. I get that. I get that better than I ever got that. And I think that's been a key to our success. And then thirdly, hopefully this is coming across, is you don't, and I work in a pretty staid, very conservative, fiscally conservative industry. You're talking insurance professionals, financial services professionals. These people are very buttoned up. A lot of, God love them, Midwestern companies. And they are just very focused, very disciplined. You don't necessarily sprinkle in or interweave the personal in. But I'm a big believer in, at the end of the day, as you kick this off, we kind of sell a commodity. It's not a commodity process. We have a secret sauce we've established. But at the end of the day, there's Mohammed Siddique, and he's raising his hand. Yeah, I want life insurance. There's Kurt Snyder. He's raising his hand. He wants life insurance. If you got 10 guys from whom you can buy those prospects, who are you going to do business with? The guy who values you, like we had talked about in point number one, but more importantly, this guy's just a cool guy. He cares about my business. He's deadpan serious about my business, but he's also got a personality. The guy likes to do this. He's connected me with on Facebook. He occasionally puts personal things up in LinkedIn. And when he talks and meets with me, he's asking about my kids, not in a cheesy Willy Loman kind of ingenuine way, but truly there's no distinction between the partnership, the client, personal relationship. It's friendships. I know it sounds cliche, and I'm not afraid to be who I am. I'm a surfer. And, you could say, okay, well, then the guy's out there, backing his head against a surfboard and baked in the sun. Absolutely not. Surfing is the greatest sport I've ever played or ever done, and it's absolutely helped me in my business. I'm a big sailor. I'm a mountain climber. I'm a big traveler. Any one of those things, I think, helps me to be a better business person. And so be a brand. Be your own brand and be fun. You don't have to be like everybody else, because at the end of the day, you're selling bottled water. And I'd rather buy bottled water from a fun, cool guy.
Yeah. It's all about relationships. How you build a genuine, authentic relationships as you as a journey. Working with a vendor, a client is a journey. So you can keep building it together, so that way they can't even compare you with anyone else.
Absolutely.
So that's a great wisdom. Thank you again. I appreciate it. So, Kurt, now it's kind of business direct question. It's almost like a blunt question. How you are growing your business right now in this economy?
Yeah, well, we are practicing what we preach. And what's interesting, Mohammed, is that we have a USP, or a product or service offering, which is really B2C. That said, the only way we get clients is we have to have a good B2B competency. So you can't do it to the same extent. You cannot get all this behavioral data necessarily that you could on a consumer on a business. However, the code I think we've cracked is, I learned more, Mohammed, from being sold to than ever selling to somebody. I could be there on a Sunday afternoon, and like you and like any other entrepreneur, if you're awake, you're pretty much working always. So I could be looking at Instagram, and it's not because I'm looking at surfing pictures or anything else of the sort. Yeah, there's someone there. Somebody's in there targeting me because they know I'm a president of a company. They know I'm in tech. They know I'm global. And I said, you know what? That's genius. They found me. So we do everything we can to treat business owners who are buyers in their other role as just human being, John Smith, I'm a regular guy. And we know how, based upon their searches and LinkedIn and all the data that we can transition over and uploads and, creating smart audiences and the programmatic and all that, how to find these guys and women when they are not necessarily wearing their corporate hat. Get them in Facebook, get them in an email. LinkedIn's a business environment. Get them on Instagram when they're relaxed, maybe having a glass of wine. I can't tell you the amount of responses we get from our advertising from top level, C-level executives, big major insurance carriers on Sundays, on Saturdays, because that's the only time when the decks are cleared and they can focus. And I'm thinking, that's exactly like me. I never respond to anything during the week. So that is one way we grow the business. We do it. It's very automated. We have a lot of automated plugins to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our savior. We still love it. It's the foundation almost of everything we do. But then, we have a little bit of real world, old school people using LinkedIn and reaching out. We have a lot of automated drip email campaigns that are going out, some big broadcast emails that are going out. We do a bunch of social media. We're posting and doing videos and ads on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as I'd said, but in a very targeted fashion. So that absolutely has allowed us to continue to grow.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your secret sauce almost in a one-to-one interview in a public setting. This is how much you can share. Really,
people can try to figure it out. It's not easy. It sounds easy, but it wasn't easy to get to where we are.
Anything which seems easy is never easy, by the way. Execution really, that makes it very hard. We get it. We just wanted to know, what's working for you. And again, thank you so much. Kurt, business is a roller coaster. Sometimes it's going up and sometimes it's going down. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
So here is my question. So when is down, what keeps you going as a CEO of a company?
Great question. One of my mentors when I first got into business said, Kurt, the one thing you're going to realize very quickly being an entrepreneur is the highs are higher and the lows are lower. So as so much as, a 1/1,000,000th of a rounding error, we're down one day from the first day. I said, oh my God, is this the beginning of a trend? Yeah. I've had enough history to realize it is very much, in our case, somewhat of a secular business. And so I always know, plus I know, and I just have faith that everything we do every day is toward an end where it is going to grow. So worst case, yeah, you have a little bit of a plateau, but you're always growing. That said, we got hit pretty hard by the recession. I will be the first to admit that. The persona of my business was very different at the time. We were in a couple consumer categories that just got decimated, Muhammad, and I made the decision coming out of that 2012, 13, 14 in there that I'm going to be in a more recession-proof set of verticals come next time around. People are still going to need health insurance. They're still going to need Medicare, financial planning, life insurance. Life goes on. The disposable income things that they set aside, yeah, those go. But I'm not going to go down the drain with them the next time. So just the faith that we're always doing the right thing towards growing. So sometimes the bucket leaks faster than it's filled. And we try to plug the bucket and keep filling it and make it overflow. And that's how we get the growth curve.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate it. How the Growth Hacking Show community can support you? People are watching this, how they can support you?
How can they afford us?
Support you.
There's a little bit of breakup. I'm sorry.
How we can support you, the people who are watching this.
Support us. Okay, yeah, sure. Just spread the good word around. And, we're pretty well known within the insurance category. Life insurance has been a little bit later to the party, as it were, than maybe health and Medicare and long-term care insurance has. So, spread the word that there's some good, honest, decent, high quality, high caliber professionals out of Annapolis, Maryland, who are more than willing, happy, and able to help your insurance business grow. Just spread the good word. We'd be grateful.
Wonderful. If you're still watching this, you probably like Kurt Snyder by now already. I don't know about you. I like him already. And go ahead and connect with them on LinkedIn or visit the website and just follow the contact us form. That's it. So as we are about to wrap up, Kurt, what would you say as a final word?
And if I could quote the great Vince Lombardi. So when I started my business, I had a good friend and mentor, and he said, Kurt, put this up on your wall. And it was a picture of Vince Lombardi. And for those of you who don't know, maybe a little bit younger, he was one of the greatest all-time professional football coaches. And he was known for his leadership and for his great quotes. And so this hung on my wall. And I was a real athlete growing up. And so it resonated even more with me, but it really helped me go forward in business. And the quote is, I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, the greatest fulfillment of all that he holds dear, is that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on the field of battle, victorious. Every day when I go to bed at night, if I don't feel like I absolutely just fought a battle and there I am, sheerly exhausted, I don't feel good about myself. Every minute of every day in private business and in small business and entrepreneurship is a battle. It truly is. And you can never let your guard down. So those Vince Lombardi words are what I truly believe. All the preparation, all the hard work, all the grit, all the pain, everything. You have to embrace it, not avoid it. You've got to take it on and make it your friend. And that's how you're going to become successful. And that's my parting shot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kurt Snyder, the founder and CEO of Colby Prospect Generation, and you got it. So you really want to learn. Thank you so much again. I really, really appreciate on the behalf of Growth Hacking Show community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia, wishing you good luck, good sales, and I do our podcast again with another amazing guest. Until then, all best wishes.
Thank you.